Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a new episode of the Metal Meltdown. Now, before we get started, I want to quickly remind y'all that I actually interviewed Rick Giordano right here on the Metal Meltdown approximately 2 months ago. So, if for whatever reason following this review you want to learn even more about this particular album from this particular band, may I recommend you follow the link in the description of this video. Or not, your call. Your fucking prerogative, but just a heads up, in doing so, you'd be intentionally skipping out on one of my favorite interviews on the Metal Meltdown. Just a thought. Do with that information whatever you wish. Skin Show is the fourth studio album from American heavy metal chameleons and shapeshifters, The Lion's Daughter. Initially known for playing a very abrasive blend of black and sludge metal, following their 2018 record Future Cult, the band have since transitioned into something that I am now going to coin as alternative, avant-garde, blackened horror synth metalcore. Whether or not that's accurate is ultimately for the Lion's Daughter to decide, but what isn't up for debate is that these guys have been consistently making some super weird, fucked up music for the last couple of years, with Skin Show acting as the culmination of the Lion's Daughter's ambitions and experiments. It is without question one of the strangest and most unique albums I have heard in 2021, as it not only retains the utterly insane sonic palette of the aforementioned Future Cult, but expands upon it in ways that I could have never guessed even if you put a gun to my head. Skin Show is bigger, bolder, darker, more psychotic, more sexual, even at times more depraved, more violent. The keyboards and the synthesizers are now further sewn in to the fabric of The Lion's Daughter, in turn bringing in new influences from industrial, from new wave, from art rock, from gothic rock and dance pop music. And while not a concept album by design, at least not according to Rick Giordano in my aforementioned interview with him, Skin Show certainly does have the thematic weight, the size, the scale, the flow of a full-blown concept album, with the only thing really differentiating Skin Show from what we would call a concept album being the more episodic nature of the record. Nothing flows together in a single narrative. The tracks exist individually while touching upon similar themes and ideas, almost like the sonic answer to something like The Twilight Zone or Black Mirror, something that The Lion's Daughter ironically allude to themselves in statements like this one. Skin Show could be the soundtrack to Times Square in the 1970s, the epicenter of sin and salacious misdeeds, a haven for sex, drugs, and crime, beneath the inviting glow of neon signs dangling in sleazy adult stores, a place where angels fear to tread. Getting now into the actual meat of the album, Become the Night opens Skin Show on a very foreboding and ominous note. One can't help but feel like they've been deceived by the initially inviting, if still eerie, keyboards and synthesizers, which are then immediately contrasted with some very blunt, abrasive, and stark black metal musicianship. Similarly, the following track, Courtins, goes straight for the jugular with some incredibly vicious, minimalistic guitar work, almost hearkening to like a blackened take on Cataclysm, before then launching into a surprisingly anthemic and cathartic chorus, where the keyboards intentionally reel back a little bit, opting to simply embolden what is already so striking. And from here on, things get rapidly, visibly weirder. Take, for instance, the very masochistic, yet weirdly romantic Sex Trap. There are some very soft and sensual synthesizers here. There's a very dancey beat that reminds me of a lot of 80s goth rock and pop. All interwoven, though, between some very painful, black metal screaming and guitar work. Then you have something like All Hell Is Mine, which pairs some of those synthwave influences with a very mechanical groove and some very dark, personal, and introspective lyrics. I honestly can't help but be reminded of some of the most mentally and physically taxing material from Downward Spiral era 9 Inch Nails. Then you have the 1-2 hit combo of the album's title track, Skin Show, and The Chemist, which managed to find this beautiful balance directly in between, like industrial black metal, alternative metal, and pure 80s synthwave music. And then smack dab in the middle of all that, you have something like Werewolf Hospital, which brings in some more angular, thrashy riffs and some tongue-in-cheek narration on top of the already bizarre blackened synth metal spectacle. It's like the horror-obsessed mutant freak child of Voivod and mid-90s white zombie. But the real star of the show here, in my humble opinion at least, is the album's lead single, Neon Teeth. This isn't just the best track on the album, it's quite possibly one of my favorite songs of 2021 so far. It is catchy, it is creepy, it is crazy, it's got some of the best keyboard and synth work on the entire album, which very playfully, if perhaps unintentionally, harkens to the iconic main theme from The Exorcist, kind of making this feel all the more horrific and ghastly and evil. And I love the absolute industrial black metal new wave clusterfuck that this track evolves into in its final moments. This really was a remarkable listen, ladies and gentlemen. I know sometimes I can be a little hyperbolic. I know sometimes I can get caught up in the hype of things and I can just say stuff and you guys will be like, oh, you're exaggerating and blah, blah, blah. I get it. I'm well aware of that. I'm well aware it's something I have to kind of work on. But at the risk of sounding like an absolute fucking dick, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. This is one of my favorite albums of the year so far. Like, this isn't something like Woad or Krallis where I'm like, oh wow, some super crazy, spooky, heavy black metal. Ooh, no, this is unlike anything I've heard so far this year. An immersive, hypnotic, horrific display of whatever the fuck you want to call the Lion's Daughter's particular brand of extreme metal buffoonery, culminating in a genuinely incredible, one-of-a-kind experience, and I really don't think I'm exaggerating on that particular point. Name one other album from any other band that is doing even half of what is happening on Skin Show. Name one. I'll fucking wait. I'm going with a 4.5 out of 5. This is right up there with records from Tribulation and Ad Nauseam as far as I'm concerned, as standing as some of the best music of the year so far. It's probably not going to be for everyone. I imagine it will confuse and even alienate some out there, but I encourage you to give it a shot regardless. If only so that you can see for yourself just how utterly fucking weird this entire package is. I look forward to continuing to explore this bizarre little universe that the Lion's Daughter have constructed, something that I absolutely will do. As of this recording, I have already ordered Skin Show on vinyl, and I especially look forward to whatever the flying fuck the Lion's Daughter have planned for the rest of 2020 and beyond. 4.5 out of 5, a truly incredible fucking record. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be, so what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown fucking immediately. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.